Laced Up Nation, what's really, really good? Doe. Wesley, what's popping, bro? What's really good?
Dude, what did you think of that song, man?
He's all right.
Would it make your 20-hour playlist for a long road trip? If you were driving to Detroit and back, would that song be on a playlist?
I mean, I don't. How many songs do you think that is? Probably like 100,000? No, more.
Dang, dude.
Like, I don't know how many songs that would even be. I don't know. I just said that number. That might be less than 100,000. But there comes a point where, like, you remember those iPods with, like, 120 gigs? Like, the most I ever had was like 2,000 songs.
Yeah.
And even at 2,000 songs, there were songs on my iPod that I didn't really know.
Or that you were very just lukewarm about, like you clearly are with this one.
So
like there were songs on there you were just like, eh.
Yeah. I think everybody had it that way. So definitely this song kind of falls in that category for me. Like, it's fine. I probably would have downloaded it at some point illegally. And I played it. And the thing is, it's interesting because you said I do like songs from that era and from that in that genre.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This one just didn't really have all of the same qualities as those other ones. I don't know. It was the right genre. It was the right time period. But something was missing, I don't know. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was fine. I'm not going to trash it. I just didn't really, vibe.
Yeah. So I didn't really vibe with it, but you and I often don't vibe on music. Like, there's a lot we do vibe on and there's a lot we don't. So I was like, although I don't vibe on this, I feel like Trevor might. But you didn't.
Well, I mean, I liked it. It was fine. It was like, you know how like when you like an album, there's 20 songs on an album.
Yeah.
There's probably like 10, 11 songs that you really like. And then those last like 10, 9, probably a couple you don't like. And then the rest of them, you're just like, all right, cool.
I can think of a bunch of albums I like the majority of songs on.
Yeah, but but you know how there's always songs on an album that you like that are just like, like, okay, I like it.
Same with your iPod. Is that song making your 2000 song iPod?
Yeah, probably 5,000.
Damn. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna play you a song by the same dude next week.
Okay.
And then a song by him the week after that.
Okay.
And then we're gonna determine if you like him or not.
Okay. I like this.
Normally, I think what I'm gonna do next month when we do it is not tell you the name of the artist. But you know the name of this artist is Raphael Saadiq because I told you.
Yeah.
But in the future, the idea is that you don't know the name of the artist. I'm gonna show you 3 of his songs, and then you'll have determined if you're a fan or not.
I mean, I can already say he's got a dope voice. He was flowing, but the song just was alright.
It don't mean you're a fan though. I feel you. Okay, so let's get into the basketball side of things, dude.
Okay.
We watched the 2001 Game 1 Lakers versus 76ers. Going into this game, I was like, really, I want to be objective about the Philly roster because that roster gets criticized a lot. And it's like a huge accomplishment that AI could take that roster to the finals, apparently. So I was going into it really trying to see the good in that roster. And at first it was really hard because they were not impressive. But as the game went on, I was like, I at least understood how everyone played a role on that team. And I kind of grew to respect it. It ultimately wasn't effective, but the entire strategy was, let's be really aggressive on the glass and let's just be pesky and let AI do everything. But all those other guys, they were getting rebounds. Geiger and Mutombo were rebounding with Shaq down there on offense, and they were getting scrappy. And I was like, oh, so that's their offense. AI drives the lane, draws in all these defenders, and then those two are good enough to make things happen with just a little bit of room. You know what I mean? So it was fun to watch, but ultimately they just couldn't stop Shaq. Like, they just couldn't stop him. And I know Philly won the game, but like, you could tell watching it, you're like, yeah, I can totally see how LA would go on to dominate the rest of the series. That was my overall big picture takeaway.
Man, there's just, first and foremost, that's one of my favorite games of all time to watch. Yeah. And I've watched that game start to finish probably at least 15 times. Like, Allen Iverson's my favorite player, bro, of all time. And I remember watching that game live. Back in that era, right? In that specific era, all I ever wanted to do, I wasn't even a Bulls fan anymore at that point. Like, I just didn't care about the team. All I ever wanted to do was watch AI and Kobe. That's all I ever wanted to do. Those are the two teams that I watched, Philly and the Lakers, because I love Kobe and AI. And then this is basically my dream. They're in the finals, right? And definitely in game one, you see how great AI is. There's no question about it. He ends up with 48, and they beat him basically because of his effort in the whole first half. But you also saw, it was a complete picture of AI, I think. That's why I love it so much, because you saw the greatness, but you also saw his limitations. And you also saw how no matter how good of a player you are, no matter how great you are, you always need your teammates to help you pull it out. Because at the end of the day, if he would have only scored 48 points and that's the only points, they would have got waxed, right? But all those other guys ended up playing big roles, made big shots. And like I said, a lot of his deficiencies were shown because little old Ty Lue basically just eliminated AI in the second half, bro.
That's my favorite takeaway that I think deserves the most emphasis, because the moment we all know in overtime when AI steps over Ty Lue, that's all that gets remembered. At least for sure, like today's generation, the kids, that's probably all they know about. Like, they didn't see Ty Lue absolutely shut down AI the entire fourth quarter, and then even into overtime. And Ty Lue was chirping, and dude, he had 5 steals in 10 minutes. He had AI shook. And to me, I didn't know that, dude, because I didn't sit down and watch the whole game. I just didn't know it. And then AI scored like 7 points in overtime, was it? And just and Ty Lue had a really bad turnover in overtime that kind of sparked AI, and then that was it. But I just think I wish Ty Lue's performance was remembered, because it was pretty incredible. I haven't seen that many stretches of basketball from a defensive standpoint played like that. It was actually amazing to watch.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the victors are the ones who write the history books, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what happened. AI hit and even just talking about that one play that you're saying, that's the thing that everybody remembers. But if you watch the game like you and I did, AI hits that shot, they go up by 5 or 6 or whatever, or they go up by 5. Yeah. Or no, they go up by 3 or something. I think they go up by 3. Go back to the other end. Kobe hits a crazy shot and pulls him right back into it. So the game's not even over. It's not, everybody remembers that shot or thinks that shot ended the game. It didn't. Actually, Eric Snow, after Kobe hits that tough turnaround, Eric Snow comes down and hits a super tough fadeaway, I think from the elbow. And that iced the game. That is what iced the game. So again, it's one of those things that yes, Allen Iverson scored 48 points. And yes, he ultimately is the biggest reason why they were even in the finals and why they won that game. But he was not even close to the whole story of that game. Not even close.
No. Yeah.
And so that's my first biggest takeaway, is that you got to see a complete picture of AI.
Yep. Because like that's crazy. He had 48, and he, like I said, the entire fourth quarter he was basically like shut down.
He didn't score.
I wonder what he had going into the fourth quarter. Imagine if his fourth quarter was just on par with the rest of the quarters. It would have been one of the all-time great NBA Finals performances that like we've ever seen. I mean, it is probably to this day, but it would have been even more monumental. And you mentioned Eric Snow. Like that was he stepped up and made shots. Geiger stepped up and he could stretch the floor just enough where it was a problem. You know what I mean? Because AI demanded so much attention, and Geiger could get out just far enough and be able to hit that little 20-footer, 15, 20-footer, where I can see how a team like that got to the finals. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when AI is drawing a double team out top by the 3-point line, there was one play where he dished out to Raja Bell, and Raja Bell had a lot of room to make something happen, and he just didn't do anything with the ball. I mean, he tried to score. He drove the lane. He had a lot of space, and he just clanked it. And I was like, that probably is ultimately the downfall of that team, which is kind of obvious, but just the lack of scoring.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, right? They lost 4 in a row after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you saw, it was weird watching this game one, because I was watching it like, how is this team? How did they get to the finals? But you also, it was very clear how they lost 4 in a row after it.
So right when you see them come on the court, and that's what everybody was talking about before the game in terms of like the sports coverage and all that. How is this team even going to score a point against the Lakers? You can see them as soon as they step on the court. The Lakers are unbelievably talented, right?
Yeah.
But the reason I love this game is that it has so many adages in it of basketball, if you really pay attention to it. The Lakers had swept every single team up to this point. Okay, they hadn't lost a game. The Sixers, I believe only the first series was the one that didn't go to 7, but I think it went to 6. Then they went back-to-back 7-game series with the Raptors and then Milwaukee. Raptors with Vince Carter, Milwaukee with Ray Allen, right? Super tough series. So what happens in game 1? The Lakers are on like a 10-day layoff. They hadn't played basketball in 10 days. And these guys are coming off of battle-tested, sharp, everything, right? And so that usually is, when you look at basketball, you get a fear of like, that's like the biggest fear, is just like losing your rhythm. Yeah. And that's I think all of the things lined up perfectly for the Sixers to be able to win this game. AI went off. Everybody on the supporting cast had a pretty solid game. And the biggest thing that everybody kind of forgets about this whole game, because if you look at his numbers, it looked like, oh, it was all right. Kobe had an awful game.
Offensively.
Okay? Yeah. Just an awful
defensively,
game.
Defensively, I thought he, like, I was like, I can see how he won Defensive Player of the Year that prior season. Or even that, did he make it that year in 2001?
No, he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year.
All defense. Yeah, all defense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, offensively, he did not play well at all.
And the thing is, of course, defensively was great. Good point. But he was giving 30 a game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were missing. I think he ended up with like 16 or something. I don't know, somewhere around there. And yeah. And he did score. He did come on late in the game, in the fourth quarter. He was part of that little run that they had to come back and take the lead or whatever. But if he has a normal game, that game's not close. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what ended up happening. And in the next games is that they figured out with Shaq. Not they figured out. They just all ended up having like their normal games. And for as much as AI and all them dudes could do, like, just not enough.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say, and I think you touched on it okay, Ty Lue comes in, right? And he changes the game completely. At first, it wasn't even necessarily he was shutting down AI. He was just getting loose balls, getting assists, running the court, whatever, right? Just giving energy. And then, of course, he was shutting down AI. But the fact that at the end, he basically makes 2 mistakes in a row when they're winning the game in overtime. That basically sparks AI.
Right.
When he comes down, he had been picking up AI full court the entire time that he was shutting them down. But there was some miss. You know, the Lakers got like a pretty good shot or whatever, and they missed it. Sixers get the rebound, and for some reason, Ty Lue starts running back on defense instead of coming up and pressuring AI in that moment. And so they outlet to AI, and that's the first time in like a quarter and a half that AI gets to run straight to the cup. He goes, gets a foul, right? And he hadn't scored in like the whole fourth quarter going into the overtime. He hadn't scored. He hadn't really seen any action. He gets fouled, and the only reason he gets fouled is because Ty Lue let him get that run up. He gets fouled. He gets the two free throws. He sees them, goes in. The next time down the court, Ty Lue comes down and just like does a stupid shot for no reason. He drives on AI and throws some wild shot.
Doug Collins said it. Doug Collins was like, "That's a terrible shot." He had Kobe and Shaq on the floor, and he just did some errant layup.
And there was no need for it. They were winning the game at that point. There was no need for a quick shot.
Yeah.
So he falls down on top of everything. So guess what? AI's wide open going down. They find him for a 3.
Yep.
So he just gets hot. He hits that 3, and it just goes. And then after that, right after that was the next play where he does the step over or whatever, right? But the reason why I like that whole sequence is that when you have a guy like AI, when you have that type of talent, when you have a guy performing at that level, it doesn't matter that you played great for a quarter and a half against him.
Right.
You have to play against him 100%. Like you cannot mess up against him.
It makes me wonder, like, if you have that Energizer Bunny mentality, is that mentality also prone to, let me rephrase this, like, if you play with that super high Energizer Bunny energy, does that energy sometimes get misdirected really easily in high pressure moments? You know what I mean? Like, does that energy get a little erratic more easily? And it makes me think of Westbrook a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's see. Hold up. Fingers crossed. Westbrook and Houston. I feel like Westbrook was really like starting to change some things in his game. So that's off topic, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
But yeah, so that's like another big point that I love about this game is that it proves that. And I think if you're like a young player, you can learn a lot from just watching Ty Lue. Like, it doesn't matter that he had a great quarter and a half. They still lost, and he still messed up when it counted the most.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's another cool thing. The other thing is that I don't know why they didn't give Shaq the ball every single time down the court.
Every single time. Yeah.
Like, literally, I know that Mutombo and I know Geiger did well against him because, and we talked about this with John Dale on the top 5 rankings or whatever when we're talking about centers. I don't think Shaq has ever really been a great rebounder for as big as he was. You know what I mean? Like, he was never really hustling to get rebounds, or he never really tried to get position for rebounds. He would just get them because he was big. So I mean, I thought Mutombo and Geiger were like getting rebounds over him because of that, not necessarily because they were like out physicaling him. But whenever they threw the ball to Shaq, it's like Philly. I like what they did. They were just like, you know what, we're just gonna live with Shaq doing whatever he wants. You know, like, he's either gonna kill us or he's not gonna kill us. Every time he got it, jump hook, it was either in, he was either dunking on somebody ridiculous like he always was, or he ultimately got fouled, whatever. It was always a good thing. But for some reason, the Lakers just weren't giving him the ball a lot in the first half. and it was just baffling.
In the second half, he got going, and that's what made me think of Geiger, because like Shaq started dominating, and if I'm Geiger, I'm shook, right? But he still went down on the other end and hit shots in the second half, and I was like impressed by that. If I were getting absolutely owned by Shaq, dunked on, and just like dominated, that might get in my head a little bit. And I'm sure a lot of players in the NBA that did happen to.
But the difference is that they knew he was going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, I know you're going to dunk. Like, let's just go to the other side.
Yeah.
Because especially
he's
for
that
Geiger,
dominant. Right.
Exactly.
That, you just have to just be like, okay, I can't do anything about that.
Exactly. Like, you just try to do your best and whatever. I don't care. So especially with Geiger, he had that little 15, 17 footer you're talking about. And that was actually the best way to attack Shaq. Because Shaq he's always been especially
he's not gonna run out there.
That's what I'm saying. He's not gonna sprint out and try to guard you. Like,
and if he does, because it's the finals, well, then he's gonna get tired, right? I mean, didn't happen in this game, but that'd be the strategy.
So that I think Geiger, he just kind of knows what's gonna happen. I know I'm gonna get dominated on this end, but on that end, I know I can get Shaq. Actually, I can get a few points off Shaq or whatever.
By the way, Geiger had the most impressive loose ball dive I think I've ever seen. He dove for a ball that was going out of bounds, and instead of just hitting it backwards hoping a teammate got it, he somehow in midair like dribbled the ball to keep it in bounds instead of hitting it towards backwards behind him. And I was impressed with his intensity there. Mutombo, like I said, I like how he was making things happen off the glass, being pesky, just doing what you needed to do if you had AI down there. But offensively, he didn't impress me. But you mentioned this was not the prime of his career. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I always just admire him for being as good as he was, for being like old already at this point in his career. I don't know how old he was, but he was like 36 probably. You know? Did
you see the moment though where he picked up a foul against Shaq in the middle of the game, and they had to take him out, and some assistant coach like walked up to him on the bench to try to like talk to him or coach him, and he was just like, "Get out of here, just leave me alone." I was like, I felt bad for this young assistant coach who's trying to like go coach Mutombo, and Mutombo just wasn't having it.
Bro, dude, that's the high leverage moments, man. I'm glad that like you started this little series about like watching old games, because I really love watching old games. Yeah. But they make me sad that I don't get playoff basketball right now. Yeah. No. Like that's part of like the high leverage stakes. Like sometimes, you know, you just like, get out of my face. I know I messed up. Leave me alone. You know, like jabbing John at your teammates, John at everybody else. Like, man. Crazy.
Hold up. Let me tell the listeners a story. Okay. You and I were in a high leverage basketball moment on MDB in like 8th grade. And we were deep in the tournament against this team, and you were like totally being the leader of the squad, bro. Just not letting us lose, defensively causing havoc. And we called,
I think I know the story you're about to say, but I never remember this.
We called a timeout late in the game, and I was on the bench, dude. But I was like, yo, T, this is your team, man. You got this. This is your team. And you were like, dude, shut up. Just leave me alone. And you went out there and like acted like it was your team and you were the leader. You know what I mean? But you were not trying to just have any of that vocalized in the moment. And I thought that was so funny. You just like,
actually, like, I think I do remember that. I don't remember the game or anything, but I do remember that moment. And it's because like I was so like focused, you know, like I just was like so in the game. And then like I almost felt like, and you were probably serious. You were probably like genuinely trying to pump me up, but I almost felt like you were like playing around, you know, like trying to get like fake gas me up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think I was just like, bro, shut up, bro. Like, leave me alone. Like, this is not like. Nah.
I just walked back to the bench
because you know how like you and I, especially, like we've always had like a playful relationship and just funny, like just, and I felt like I guess I misinterpreted it or whatever, but I do now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember like in that moment I was just like so focused and I was like pissed that like I don't know, like I usually like got mad in those situations, like not mad at anyone, but I was just like mad because I was like so like focused. I wanted everything to like come out right, and so like I feel like in that moment I was just like, bro, stop playing.
Oh man, it was fun. I mean, it was a funny moment, dude.
No, you probably didn't think it was funny though. Bad. I'm sorry.
No, I was impressed. I was like, wow, that's intensity. I was kind of sad because I wanted you to know how much I believed that. I was like inspired how you were carrying the team. I was like, I'll tell him later. Anyways, dude, Rick Fox,
Rick Fox.
3 and D. Wow. Like I was so impressed with some of the defense from the Lakers too. Even though they let AI score 41 points, there was just moments where they really locked down. Same with Ty Lue, obviously. Robert Horry had one of the coolest steals I've ever seen in my life, just randomly in the second quarter. And then last thing, I miss mid-range basketball, man. Like I respect the hell out of the 3-point snipers and the effectiveness of the 3-point game. But just the nature of the cuts and the pull-ups and that chess game you're playing in the middle of the floor, accompanied with the sheer strength that was required to play that way. I just miss it. And it made for better like defensive moments too. So yeah, I'm not knocking today's game, but I just, there's something to be said about that, I think.
Well, it also, I think it, obviously shooting 3-pointers and all that spreads the floor out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like when you have the mid-range game, you use more of the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like in 3-pointers, like obviously you can spread it out, but you can only spread it out so far. There's only like 3 guys in the league who can really hit those 40-footers consistently. Everybody else has to shoot right at the 3-point line. And that's all they're doing. Like a lot of guys nowadays have just been like Rick Fox nowadays would have just been standing at the 3-point line the whole game. But not. But with the mid-range game, everybody uses more of the floor. There's more shots, more angles, I think.
Yeah.
And there's more variety in the game because they still shoot threes, just not as nearly as many.
Shout out to Rick Fox, aka Sweet Feet, from the movie Holes. He played Sweet Feet in the movie Holes.
I've never seen that.
Dang, bro. Okay, that's another episode. Yeah, man. What other like last thoughts did you have about it?
Just a quick point. The Lakers didn't let AI score 48.
Yeah.
He gave it to him wrong.
Yeah.
He was hitting Kobe. He was hitting Derek Fisher. He hit a few over Shaq. Ultimately, he hit that crazy one over Lou.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I like I said at the beginning, like I just think that this is a great game because you can find so many lessons from it, from both sides. Both sides. Number one, like you said, Kobe had a bad offensive game, but he could still affect the game so much defensively, right?
Right.
You can look at a guy like Shaq. He could have just like got really frustrated and gave up that in the first half his teammates weren't giving him the ball, right? But he got to stick with it. Ty Lue, he didn't play like the whole first 3 quarters. You could just say like, oh, he's super checked out when they put him in. You have to always be ready to go, right? Another thing with Ty Lue, if you're going to stick the best player in the league, in the world at the moment, there's this much margin of error, bro. There's nothing. Right. You have to be 100% focused the whole time. So there's just so many, and then the other guys on the Sixers, no matter who's on your team, you always have to be ready to go because you never know who is going to be supporting. Because Raja Bell, like you said, he did have a couple questionable moments, but he also had some big shots. Aaron McKee had big shots. Eric Snow had the ultimate dagger at the end. So just so many lessons that you can learn from watching a game like this if you're a young player. And, man, just a great game.
Yeah, man, I've had a lot of fun doing these ones. This was a better game than our previous episode. the Suns versus Sonics in '93, which was a blowout. But that had more of an aesthetic appeal. There was a sentimental entertainment to that game. That was a little different. But last thought, yo, man, this season though, in 2001, I wish the league had a one-game championship format so the Philadelphia 76ers could have won the NBA Finals that year. They were not the better team, but if it was a one game setup, dude, they're NBA champions that year, and that would have been very cool.
How different would Allen Iverson's already considered, most people love him and most people think he's super great, but people kind of keep him at bay when it comes to like top 10s or top 15s or stuff like that. That would be way different if he had this chip. If
he got that chip, he'd be,
you know what I'm saying?
He'd be way higher up.
The other thing is, just one last thing quickly. I know a lot of people dog on, a lot of like critics of AI are like, he didn't maximize his talent or he didn't do the best that he could or whatever. But, you went into it trying to like find an angle where like you were trying to be like, nah, this team was actually good and AI wasn't actually just carrying the team. Do you not agree that he maximized the potential of this team?
Oh, for sure. I don't know what their record was that year, and I'm guessing that the East was bad in 2000.
It wasn't though. Like
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that team gets knocked on just because, I don't know. I feel like it was just a bunch of role players who did their job. They ran into Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean? So
I just feel like AI gets a lot of, not a lot, like most people, like I just said, most people like him, but the people who do criticize him about his dedication or his, maximizing his talents.
Yeah.
But I ultimately, given all the teams that he'd ever been on, this team was not like that good, and he maximized it. I don't see how he didn't maximize it. He even won a game against that team who had swept much better teams than them.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Second thing about what you said, how he was criticized for his dedication and work ethic. Think about how Phil Jackson knew Dennis Rodman was a different breed. Think about how they knew you kind of had to just let Dennis go. And I actually started thinking about that deeply while I was watching. Maybe AI was the same. Like maybe some people
not maybe
wired,
sure.
Right? And it's crazy, dude, because like it's crazy how close to life basketball is. Because I've been really productive during the quarantine, but I continue to add more on my plate as far as productivity to try to maximize all this time. And I think this week I reached a point where I was like trying to be too much of a soldier about it and too like a drill sergeant in my own head. And the things I was doing, I wasn't doing them well. You know what I mean? And I'm like, maybe I'm discovering that same thing. Like as much as I want to like be the crazy Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant workhorse, maybe that's not who I am. And is that bad? Like that's not who Dennis Rodman was. He showed up when he was there, he was present and he was balling out. AI, when in the games that he played, I don't think his effort was questioned very much, was it? Like
never.
wasn't he known to like leave it all on the court?
Well, that was the whole practice speech. That was half of the practice. He's like, when you see me on the game, do I not whatever. Yeah.
So like some people, if you put them through that regimen of practice and training in a certain way and there's too much of an intensity of it, they just can't, it just doesn't translate well into the game. And it's like their whole life, they have to feel good. And so they just don't do those things, and then they find a way to feel good and still ball out. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm like, it's a deep philosophy thing.
It's a similar thing to what me and you were talking to each other about privately.
Yeah.
Days ago. I don't know when that was, yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever. I think that a lot of people nowadays with like, you know, Gary Vee and Eric Thomas and all these people on Instagram,
Motivational
and whatever,
speakers and whatnot. Yeah, on YouTube motivational speakers.
I think that when you look at them and you listen to them, and then relating it to basketball, when you watch Kobe or when you watch MJ or whatever, you see the message basically is that you have to be like strict like this 100% of the time, and you have to be going balls to the wall at all moments.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think it's easy to like see those clips and see those messages and be like, man, if I'm not doing that, then I'm bad.
Right.
Or I'm not good. Right.
Right.
And the reason I brought it up is because right now you said like, oh, I'm thinking maybe I don't have to be like that. Is that bad? The thing is, it's not bad, because you know what? Michael Jordan and Kobe, there's nobody like them, right? There's only Michael Jordan is only Michael Jordan. Kobe is only Kobe. So
there's only one or two guys like that per field.
Exactly.
Business or you know what I mean? Like,
and so
yeah.
Just because it works for them, and just because Eric Thomas and Gary Vee are telling you that you got to grind. Well, guess what? They can do that because that's good for them. What you need to do is figure out what works for you.
Right.
You need to you need to work as hard as you can, and you need to work as hard as is good for you, for your mental health, for your physical health, for your talent, for your ability. You need to figure that out. And that's what Dennis Rodman, AI, maybe they took it to extreme, right? Maybe they wanted to be wild, or maybe they were doing stuff that they shouldn't do. But guess what? They were keeping their mental states good.
Right.
They were keeping themselves happy, like you said. Yeah. And that allowed them to then go, and when they practiced or when they worked out 100%. When they had to play the game, they played. But just because they weren't super detailed or super fit into a box, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's right for them. And for you and for anybody listening, just because you're not working as hard as whoever else, stop comparing yourself. First of all, you have to figure out what's good for you personally. It don't matter. Nobody else matters. So I don't know.
That's good stuff, bro. Yeah, I like everything you're throwing out there in regards to that. I mean, it's good to still value discipline and hard work. Of
course.
But it's it's another layer of the discussion that I think probably wasn't being had 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So, dang, that game was 20 years ago. Just about. That's wild, man.
Yeah. 21. Right?
Yeah. Yo, dude, I think that's about all the time we got, though.
Nah, bro. I got like, I hopefully have like another 70 years of life.
Dude, are you eating your vitamins?
Yeah, every day.
That's what's up.
I have a whole regimen of
gummies?
Vitamins. Huh?
Gummies? Do you do gummies?
No, I do the Flintstones.
Dude, Patrick, you do? Is it?
No,
okay, Patrick. Dude, no, Patrick. Hey, my cousin's doing gummies. He says it's his favorite part of the day. So I'm gonna bring back the gummies.
Oh no, there's definitely like adult gummies or like adult vitamin gummies or whatever. You know what I mean? Gummies ain't got nothing to do with it, but I don't think it's right for 30-year-old people to be eating the Flintstones.
Gummies, bro, when you were hungry, you know, you were just like reaching for those once in a while. Sometimes I'd be having 2 or 3 in a day. I just want
the Flintstones.
Yeah, man.
You would eat those like they were food?
Not regularly, but when I was feeling like,
no, but
like there's no
like
candy in the house.
Bro, my parents got me those at one point, and you know, I was a little kid, and I remember that I hated them. I remember hating them because they tasted weird and I didn't like them. Because I never been big on candy or nothing like that. And so they were giving them to me. And then one day, like, you know, a couple months went by, whatever, we start cleaning the couches, right? They start cleaning the house. They pull back like the couches and the sofa, and it's just filled with the stupid little vitamins. So I guess I don't remember this, but I guess I was just like, you know, acting like I ate it and then just like throwing them out.
Bro, you were a beast for that. Dang. That's what's up. Shout outs, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dame Lillard. He's his Slam magazine cover is on my desk right now.
Let me see it.
I just want to give a shout out to Dame because he's got that ice cold killer mentality.
Show it.
I can't because it's taped onto my desk because it's covering up a stain, an ink stain. So I can't show you. I can't.
Oh, but it's like an old one. I thought you were saying like
Yeah.
new.
No, it's an old one.
I was gonna say because I'm subscribed to Slam and I hadn't got that one. I was like, what?
Nah, bro.
What did I miss?
Nah. Shout out Dame. Do your shout outs, bro. Just do your shout outs.
You just call me Brosif?
Yeah, man.
Bro, you seen that commercial when they just keep calling themselves like a more ridiculous form of bro? And they just they're like lifting weights and he just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He's like Brosif and then he says bro something. I don't know. Some people don't know what I'm talking about. It's some Geico commercial.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, if I don't understand one of your memes, like if it's in English and
I have something to say to you about my memes. Hold up. Go ahead.
Hold up. If I don't understand one of your memes,
yes.
Because I know if it's in Spanish, it's like you want me to figure it out on my own because I'm trying to learn. You know what I mean? So I don't ask you to tell me what those mean. Mm-hmm. But if it's an English one, I also don't ask you to tell me what those mean because I just have a nagging suspicion that you're just not going to explain it to me. Like, are you in the business of explaining memes, or is it just like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, tough?
I think 75% of the time. No, I think 50% of the time. I won't explain it.
Okay, I just wanted to
just
clarify.
gotta kind of catch me in a moment where I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get it.
Yeah. Most of our listeners probably know that you just post fire memes on Facebook.
Hold up. What I do want to.
Go ahead.
What I do want to say though is that I have this little naming convention on my memes. High quality, either nothing, high quality, or very high quality. Sometimes I throw it in Spanish or whatever, depending on the meme. I don't like that. I think it was, I don't know when it was, but recently you had posted major high quality. I don't like that.
Major high quality.
That doesn't, you can post that on your memes if you want.
Well, it's my system, bro.
But you can post those on your memes.
It's my own
you can put those on your own.
Whatever.
Memes. You can put major on your own memes.
I got my own system of rating your memes. All right. That's what this has become. Anyways, do your shout out for Pete, bro.
Okay,
We've gone so far over.
Shout out Pete. Shout out you guys for listening to us. Yeah, man, we got some cool content coming out, so keep your eyes peeled. Keep your ears open and your hearts open, I guess. I don't know. Accepting.
Yeah, just be open. But I mean, like, don't open up the state or nothing yet necessarily. We got 3 days before that.
Why are they opening? Never mind. Whatever.
We can talk about that some more time. All right, y'all. Peace out.
Be easy.